Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to the Artist Coaching channel. My name is JoeySuki and I'm here back again to bring you some knowledge about the music industry. Today I want to go deeper into the moment where things started to me. I will take you more into the history of when I started, how I started, and what actually happened at that moment, because I think now looking back at that time, it kind of was an important moment to me, but I never realized what really happened until now. So that's what I want to bring to you today. To know more about how I started and when I started, we go back, I think about 15 years ago. I was living with my parents. I was still a kid actually. I was like maybe 16, 17 years old. I was already DJing just for fun. But then I started playing in a local club in my hometown called Tilburg. And I just started DJing every weekend, having fun, like not really knowing what I was doing. I was just really enjoying DJing, but I didn't really have a plan or something. At that moment, I started to know a new guy, which was also from my hometown, called Epster. And I'm not sure if you guys know him, but he's also a DJ. He's been releasing a lot on Wall Recordings, Afrojack's label. And I met him because he always went out in the same club as where I was playing. And he was playing in other clubs in the hometown as well, together with Bassjackers. They had their own evening at that time in my hometown. So there were a lot of bigger DJs in my hometown at that time. And we actually started talking together. He was just getting started with music production. I was just getting started with music production. And we just thought it was a nice idea to go into the studio together to see how things would work out and maybe we could create something cool together. So we met. We actually we met at my parents' house because my studio was in my bedroom at that time, my old bedroom where I was sleeping as a little kid. And I had my gear there. Nothing special there, just really basic gear. And he was making music, I think it was Fruity Loops at that time, and I was making music in Cubase. So we actually met and we started making music, and we noticed there was a big click between us, personally, on a personal level. So we had a lot of fun in the studio, but we also had a big click music-wise. And we noticed that because we just kept on releasing music, creating music, production all day long. And now looking back at that time, when we went into the studio for the first time, we noticed things were working out, and he had a lot of time, I had a lot of time, so we spent so much time in the studio. I think he even visited me, there were weeks where he visited me 4 or 5 times a week, and we've been in the studio for at least 5 to 8 hours a day. And that year, that moment where we started making music was really important because we really learned a lot from each other. But aside from that, we also released a lot of music. It was really great to have him in the studio because we also had a lot of fun. But now looking back at that period of time, that was actually the moment where my career started rolling. Because we started releasing music on a high tempo. We started releasing so much tracks, and even tracks on bigger labels as well. At that moment, there was kind of small label called Sneakers, but it was pretty big in the Netherlands. They also had their own events. And we got an opportunity to release our tracks over there, which also meant that we got some gigs on Sneakers events. So that was a popular event in the Netherlands. So that thing helped us getting our career to the next level. And all that hours that we spent into the studio together, that was the moment where my career started rolling, and where I actually found out that making music and releasing a lot of music helped a lot to get my name out of there. So that's the thing I want to bring to you today. It doesn't matter how much songs you make in the studio, it matters how much you finish and how much you release. As long as those productions stay on your computer and don't go out into the world on Spotify, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on Beatport, if those tracks don't get out of your computer onto those other platforms, nothing will happen. You have to get started releasing the tracks, and as much as possible, in my opinion. I believe we're in a period of time right now where there isn't such a thing as too much anymore. There's an overloading content, there's an overloading music. So you have to release as much music as possible to reach an audience right now. And of course, a lot of people always talk about the quality of your music, but I really believe that if you as an artist make music, you always know what's good and what's not. You will never release a song that's not good enough. And of course, it might not be the next big hit, but it will always be a nice track. And the thing is, you never know who's gonna like your track. If you put it out there, you never know who's gonna listen to your music, and you never know where your track's gonna end up. So I want to encourage you this week and maybe even this month to release at least one track, maybe even two, maybe even four, depending on what your release like a production level is, and the amount of hours that you spend in the studio. But I want to encourage you to start releasing as much music as possible, because you will see what's gonna happen with your career if you're getting started with releasing those tracks. And it's hard to get over that point and believe in yourself quality-wise, but it's the same as riding a bike. Once you get started doing it, it will become easier and easier to do. So this is just a small story of how I started, and I hope it will encourage you to get started doing this as well. Spend a lot of hours in the studio and get that music out there. It will give your career a push. It will bring you to that next level, and it will open up doors that were closed before. So please start doing that. This is just a small story from me beginning. Like I said, it's been like 15 years ago, and hopefully it will work for you. Let me know your thoughts on this video by putting it in the comment section, wherever you want, YouTube, Instagram, I don't know, wherever you listen to this. I hope it's useful, and have a great week, guys. Bye.